Well, good morning. This is David, your friendly neighborhood crappie wrangler. Out here at it again, fall crappie. So let me take care of a little old business first. I'm sure you all have noticed that I have taken every fishing video I had on YouTube down. Well, I did that because I'd made a mistake and I didn't realize my sonar unit was showing all the GPS locations. And I had too many people coming back and just completely fishing out my brush piles. Well, that's okay. I'm going to make the adjustment, and those brush piles are ruined. If anyone still has those GPS locations, you can't catch anything over 6 inches there now. And I have a whole lot more, and I find more every time I go out. But I'll not make the same mistake of having that screen up on my depth finder again. So to ensure that I don't make that mistake again, I've actually ordered a newer, bigger depth finder and the new Panoptics, because the Panoptics doesn't show GPS location and I won't accidentally show where I'm fishing. So with that being said, I'm going to strap this camera on and start fishing, and I'm going to have to start with mini lessons all over again. So I will be back in just a minute. Okay, just found my first fish, and it is a crappie. A nice one. Oh, he looks 12 inches or so. Good enough to go in the box. And let me throw him in there and go for another one. Well, now, hang on, there's some more fish. And yep, it pays to be able to read that depth finder. Oh, and that's another nice one. There we go. And this one also hit the spoon. Yeah, I don't know if they're hitting the spoon because they like the spoon or because I've got two jigs on. I got a spoon and a tube above it. And they may just be liking that deeper bait. There we go. That one's 12.5 and heavy. Let me throw this thing in a box. Well, I'm just now getting back up to my brush. That was a pretty good crappie, followed me down and he hit it. Oh, that's a good fish too. Well, so much for them not feeding down. And that one hit my spoon also. It's a heavier fish. Let me get him in a box. It's 13 inches. As soon as I get him in a box, I'll show you that spoon I'm using. Now, I do have a video on how to make these spoons. There it is. Chartreuse and orange on one side and white and orange on the other, with some glitter in there. And I don't know what it is about the glitter, but on my spoons, that glitter really makes a difference. Now, if I had to take a guess at what it is, I would guess that glitter looks like the scales off a shad. But it most certainly works. And once again, I've shown that with a traditional depth finder, you can actually see the fish come up and hit the jig. I seen that fish come up and hit the jig, and I didn't feel him. I seen him come up and take it, and kind of set the hook when I saw him there. And of course did all of that on film. Now I suppose that's going to be a lot easier when I get my new equipment in, but I'm not getting the new equipment because that's the only way I can catch crappie. I'm getting a new equipment so that I'm not as likely to show GPS information on the videos, which I actually never considered before, because I don't think in terms of, you know, following people or finding out where they're at or fishing other people's holes. I just go out and find my own stuff. Okay, got me another one. I've picked up a couple off camera. I'm having some boat issues, so I'm fishing handicapped out here. I have to keep my engine idling to have enough power to run the trolling motor and the depth finder. That's a 13-inch fish right there. All right, took quite a bit of looking, but I found one. You get used to using certain equipment, and it's just hard to fish without what you're used to using. And look at that. Every bit of 13 inches. There it is. Let me throw them in a box. Okay, I moved, and I specifically moved to shallower brush, and it specifically worked. So, of course, you're early fall fishing, water temperature's dropping, these fish are running into shallower water. There you go, 12.5 inches or so. So anyway, I run over to a brush pile I knew of that was 14 feet deep. Let me hit that button. Finally made 10 fish. Of course, I spent 2 hours out here on the water working on the boat trying to get it functional, and it's about half functional now. Well, I'm just about to get back to my brush pile. I kind of lost presence of mind for a minute, and I shut the engine off. And without the engine running, I don't have a trolling motor or a depth finder. So I had to go back and swap cables and stuff around to get the engine started so my trolling motor and depth finder would work. I've only got 10 fish, and which is just not very much for me. So I'd like to find a little hot spot and throw several fish in a boat, and then race to the house, see if I can get everything fixed so I can fish tomorrow. So anyway, I'm just now back on my brush pile, got my engine running, and I may have caught that fish when I first got here because my engine wasn't running, because I specifically don't like having my gas motor running up near where I'm crappie fishing. But I hadn't had a choice today. There we go. Oh. That's another nice fish. Hmm. 12.5 inches. You can tell by his tail. These guys, he's still been living mostly in a brush pile. Well, the wind's picking up quite a bit, and the on-off switch on my depth finder's not, or I mean my trolling motor's now not working well. I'm just having all kinds of boat trouble out here today. Well, I found me another one. Another nice one. Blue and white's what they're hitting on for me today. Look at that. Good thing I didn't just lift that in the boat, because the hook just fell out of his mouth. It's a nice, healthy fish. That's what I'm here for, right here. Anyway, well, I just missed me a little tap. Or I didn't miss him that time. This one's only 12 inches. The last few had been much bigger. But this one's good enough for the box, and he'll go home. Yeah, something's been after him. It's got a tooth mark that kind of looks like a gar tooth. Anyway, let me throw him in a box. Okay, there's my jig disappearing into the brush pile. Looks like I've got some fish on top of the brush pile. There we go. I teased one right up out of there. Pulled that line up real slow and watched him follow it up. It's another just 12 incher. That's why I can pop him in the boat like this. And I got that second hook in my shirt. Oh well. There's the fish. Let me throw him in the box and I'll see what I can do about my shirt. Okay, here's another nice one. I didn't get it caught on camera because I had the depth finder on the wrong page and it showed my GPS information. So as soon as I got it in the boat, I changed pages and pick it up and show you. But yeah, that is a nice fish. 12.5, 13 inches. That thing will do. Let me hit this button. That's 14 on a day that my boat is broke down. I'm literally having to leave the engine idling to be able to run my depth finder and my trolling motor. Here we go. Just about to get up to my brush pile again, and it looks like a few fish there. Really not much of a brush pile, more of a just a root ball. And now my last couple of fish, like this one, I dropped down into the root ball and just raised the jig up, and I pulled that fish out of the root ball. Oh, that's a nearly 14 inches of crappie, possibly over. Look at that. Look at that belly. That is exactly what I'm here after. So let's say I believe that makes 15. 15 with the boat broken down, that's not too bad. Well, I was turned around trying to get back to my brush pile after having lost that big crappie, and I accidentally found 2 more brush piles that I was not aware was here. So I'm working my way back up to one of them. There we go. And this one's just right, 12 foot deep, and the fish are not deep right now. There we go. Now there's my jig, and there's my fish. There we go. There we go, another 13 incher. Let me throw that in a box and I'll be right back. Oh, I just took it away from one. Alright, this ought to be a fish right here. Surprised I hadn't had a bite yet. There we go. That one also fights. Well, this isn't as big as that other one that got away, but this is one big fish. 14.5 inches, old 14.5. Look how tall he is right here. That's how you can age them. Anyway, let me chunk that in a box. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm just now getting back up to my root ball. It looks like I took my jig away from a fish. This is where it comes up pretty tall. It is a tall root. I just settled down on it. Pretty good ways up off the bottom. That looks like down in the right range for fish right there. Let's see if I can pull another one up out there. Oh, he hit, but I missed him. There we go. Okay, go get my hemostats, but yeah, every bit of 14 inches. This one's not as thick, not as heavy, and something's knocked a chunk of his gills off. Anyway, let me take care of this. I'll be right back. Okay, here I am back up on it again. This jig I've got on here is just worn plumb out. I don't know if I got enough jig on there for anything to hit at. I'll give it just a second and then I'll drop a different color in there. And what they seem to like is me dropping that thing down inside that root ball and then pulling it up, and they follow it. They follow it up out of the thick of the root ball. So I've got 18 fish so far. I figure that's pretty good, being as my boat has been broke down most of the trip. And I've got this many with my gas engine running in shallow water, which is just amazing to me. Well, let's see if I can get this one in. This is another big one, and they seem to keep throwing the hook while I'm reaching for a net. There we go, I got him. Look at that. That's another 14-inch fish. There we go. Look at that. This is not a bad day for having a broke down boat. Well, got to hook in another one for a little bit. I've lost more fish today than usual. I think these guys are just fighting harder because of the cooler water. That's another 14-incher. And that makes number 20. Well, I may have found another one. I'm just goofing off. This one's only 12.5 inches or so. Now I've got enough fish to fill my gallon freezer bag, so it's 21. I'm gonna throw this in a box, head on for the house. It's kind of foolish of me to keep fishing when I know I'm broke down. And it's not mechanical problems, it's electrical problems, which are sometimes hard to trace down. So I've got an electrical problem with my trolling motor, and electrical problem with my depth finder, and electrical problem with my charger. Boy, that's just a hard kick in the seat of the britches right there. Anyway, another fine day. I'll see you guys back at the house. David here. Well, it's kind of a tough day of fishing with a broken down boat, but I managed 21 crappie. Looks like all but 3 of them are 14 inches or better. 13 inches or better. I had one at 15. So it's a pretty good day. So you'll notice on today's video there won't be any GPS information on there, and I drove 30 miles away so no one could follow me around. So I guess I'm going to have to start taking those precautions, but I'm still going to enjoy fishing. And anyway, it was a great day, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I noticed I did get a couple more subscribers, and as usual, I want to thank you guys that always respond to the videos. So this is a Crappie Wrangler signing off.